So this is basically not encrypted. Okay, so you'll see basically here it is written not encrypted. Now what we can do is how we can create a volume that is going to be uh, encrypted. We can simply create a snapshot from it. Okay, so we can, if I'm going to create a snapshot from it, let's see, create a snapshot from this volume. Let's create a backup and the snapshot. And here better you will see, the if your the volume is unencrypted, the snapshot that you're going to take, encryption will be not applied. If the volume is unencrypted, that means the snapshot that you are going to take it from here, it is again going to be unencrypted. So it will follow the same securities that is already employed. So I'm going to create this. So I'm going to create this one. So let's create the snapshot. Okay. And let's go to the snapshots. It is created, and let's go to the snapshots and see. So this is the snapshot completed. Click on this and I'll show you. So better in snapshot also you can say this is not encrypted. So what we have done is, if you simply click on a volume, you create a volume which is unencrypted. You take a snapshot of that, and the snapshot will again be unencrypted. So there is no issues up to now, because it is going to inherit whatever the properties, whatever the encryption mechanism is there. So how we can do this? And we can just copy the snapshot from here. Okay, so first way how we can encrypt this one. So whatever snapshot you have, just go to this and click on copy snapshot. I'm going to show you one of the way. Okay, how you can encrypt this copy snapshot. Now when you're going to click on the copy snapshot, beta, everything will be as it is. Now designation, you can change the designation where you want to have the availability zone. Okay, so we'll keep it AP South 1 only, and you will see encryption mechanism encrypt this snapshot. So this is enabled. You click on this. So whatever, let it be KMS default AWS EBS storage is there. So it is going to, whatever the copy snapshot you are going to create, you can have this encrypted one. So let's click on the snapshot. Okay, so this is still pending. Let it be execute. Okay, now let's refresh this one. Okay, this is completed. Now you'll see, but this snapshot I have created by copying the existing one. So this was the previous snapshot, and I've created the new snapshot by copying the previous one. But this snapshot, if you'll see the encryption mechanism, this is going to be encrypted. Okay, so we have created a snapshot which is encrypted. Now, how I can create a volume from this one? Beta, very easy. This we have seen in the last class as well. If the snapshot is encrypted, now click on this, create a volume from the snapshot. Now click a volume, and you will see general purpose one, everything is there. So AP South 1 is there. Encryption, now you'll see the difference, because the snapshot that I'm using, it is encrypted. So this option is already, you will see it disabled. So this is encrypted. It is going to use the EBS encryption, and it is already encrypted. Let's go and click on the create volume button. So I'm going to create this. So this is automatically done. Okay, now this is successfully created the volumes. Now it is successfully created. Let's go to the volume and let's check this. Let's go to the volumes. Now we have the, both of them is available, but the second one that you will see, that the volume you will see, it is created from the snapshot, and everything is same. But this is GP2 type 1 GB 1 GB, but the second one, if you will see, in this is going to be encrypted. Okay, so this is going to be encrypted volume. We started with the volume. If I need to click on this particular volume, the previous one, so what I have done is, beta, from this a non-encrypted volume, I created a non-encrypted snapshot. Then from non-encrypting, who's there? Ishika beta, today again you have joined half an hour late. I hope you are keeping in mind the instructions that are regularly posted in the group. Make this thing very clear, beta. Your certification, your evaluations, your attendances, these are very important factor. Okay. So at the end of the session, please don't come to me claiming that, sir, I attended the training. I'm not getting the certificate. So in that case, beta, I'll not be in a position to help you. Okay. So try to be regular, try to join on time and leave the session exactly at 8 o'clock when the session is being closed. Okay, so this is done for the talking. Let's move and see we have been doing. So I was telling you, if you have the unencrypted volume, how we can encrypt it. But a step number one is just create a snapshot of unencrypted volume. The snapshot will be unencrypted. Then create a copy of the snapshot, but that copy is going to be encrypted. Now, from the copy of snapshot, create a volume, and that volume is going to be encrypted. So we have done the same thing. This is one of the way. This is one of the way here where we can see that we have created the volume which is going to be encrypted. Or the second one is going to be the second way. If you want to have a shortcut for this one, you can simply go and click on the volume, or you can simply go and click on the snapshots. Okay, so I'll move to the snapshots, and from the snapshot, so I'm going to pick the snapshot which is unencrypted. So this is a snapshot, and you'll see encryption is not applied. So this is unencrypted one. Now I am simply going to pick up this instead of creating a copy directly. बेटा यहाँ से direct भी आप कर सकते हो. Unencrypted, this is not encrypted. Create a volume from the snapshot. Directly create a volume. So everything is applied. Not enable for selecting a snapshot. You can select on this one, and directly you will be able to keep your info. So let it be default one. Okay, so you can create a volume from here. Okay, so this is a direct way. If you do not want to create the copy of the snapshot, so from the unencrypted one you can still get the encryption mechanism with that can be applied. Okay, so this is what is required for the encryption. Okay, so do you have any doubt, Peter, related to? I'm not going to do this because we have already done. So this is what required from the encryption. So let's delete this action, delete snapshot. Let it be. I'm going to delete this. Okay. And let's go to the volume as well. Let's delete the volumes. And we are good to go. So this is what was the one off of the encryption. Now the next one is the next topic that we have discussed is uh, volume. Creating an EBS snapshot from the volume, encrypt the EBS snapshot using the copy, create a new EBS volume from snapshot. Now you can encrypt the volume using the original. So this is what we have done already. ठीक? And let's move on to the next one.
सर
So yes,
तो सर मैंने स्नैपशॉट जैसे कॉपी किया तो मेरे में मतलब सेकंड वॉल्यूम क्रिएट नहीं हुआ.
बेटा स्नैपशॉट में जाके चेक करो ना विशाल. Try to go to the snapshot one and then try to select it, or you can share the screen if you want.
1 minute sir, I will say it.
Better share the screen, Vishal, if you want.
Sir, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
सर जैसे मैंने ये स्नैपशॉट से यहाँ पे ये सेकंड मैंने कॉपी करके जैसे क्रिएट किया ना, वो
Yes,
आप
yes.
कॉपी किया तो फिर आप में एक नया वॉल्यूम क्रिएट हुआ। तो मेरे में मैंने जो पहला फर्स्ट वॉल्यूम किया था सिर्फ एक ही वॉल्यूम रहा, सेकंड वॉल्यूम नहीं आया।
Click on this one. Beta, show me if it is original, if it is encrypted or encrypted. Show me.
इट्स अनइनक्रिप्टेड।
Mm, not encrypted. Go to the snapshot. But tell me in which way you want. Okay. Show the snapshot which is unencrypted. Show me the snapshot which is unencrypted.
ये वाला अनइनक्रिप्टेड है।
This is not encrypted. Okay.
ये
Now you want to click on the action. So this is a direct way to do it. Click on action. Create a volume from snapshot. Create a volume. The first option. Yes. Do it. Scroll down. Scroll down. And encrypt this volume. Yes, this is a direct way. KMS key, default one. Yes. Better click on and finally create a volume. Do it. Just hold on, hold on. It is processing. Yes. Do it now.
ये सर क्रिएटेड।
But try to check the new volume if it is encrypted or not. That's the purpose. That's what we have been trying to do. So this is not encrypted. This is the previous one. And yes, click on the another one. This is encrypted.
Yes, sir.
This is encrypted. Okay, perfect. Done. So stop the screen share. Let's move on to the next one. Let me share the screen. Okay. So, but is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next thing that we're going to start is Amazon EFS. But what we have studied up to previous slide, we have studied the EBS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. This is the most general purpose and the most commonly, most frequently storage that we are going to add along with our instance. This is the most commonly up to now 102 slides तक जितना भी बेटा पीछे हमने पढ़ा है, we have studied all the EBS storages. Okay, you can see on the every slide it is EBS storage. It is written. Okay. Now, beta, we are going to start with another different type of storage that is going to be EFS storage. This is the different type of storage which is called as the elastic file system. So we have studied elastic block storage EFS. Now we are going to start with the elastic file system. This is also one of the type of storages. So how this is different from EFS, we'll see that. So we have the managed NFS. This is a network file system. So EFS falls under the NFS. So elastic file system fall under the network file system. So that means they are not going to be any physical entity. So they are going to be attached with the network. Okay. When I'll say they are attached with the network beta, it is going to provide me very big advantage that if it is connected with the network, the limitation that we had earlier with the EBS, that we need to be in the same availability zone for assessing the EBS. So that limitation is going to be lifted with the help of EFS, because it is connected to the network file. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting in one availability zone or if you're sitting in the another availability zone, so still you will be able to assess the file. So that's the beauty of EFS, because it is connected through the network. So that can be mounted on this managed NFS, that can be mounted on any EC2 instances. This EFS works with the EC2 instances in a multi-AZ. Multi-AZ means multi availability zones. This particular file system can work in a multiple availability zone. Okay. Now this is going to have a higher availability, highly scalable and highly expensive also. So this EFS जो आपके पास storage है, this particular type of storage is expensive. This is generally 3 times expensive than the EBS. Then the EFS is 3 times expensive than EBS. So this is highly available. Why is it highly? Because few of the properties are very common. Why is it highly available? Because beta the same EFS file system is shared by the multiple instances in the multiple availability zone. So it will be always available. If any of the availability zone is not responding, there will be the another availability zones that will be perfectly funning. So it is highly available. This can be scaled at a very large level. Now, beta, just tell me honestly, how many of you remember an example of 50 GB Airtel data that I have told you when we were discussing the EBS? Do you remember that example, 50 GB data for the Airtel? We have discussed this example. Do you remember this or not? No. But I have told you that in case of EBS, you need to pre-plan everything and you need to book it. That means if you take the 50 GB data, no matter if you use 10 GB or 15 GB or 20 GB out of it, you will be charged for the 50 GB. That means you need to pre-plan and book whatever requirements you have in terms of EBS. But when we are talking for the EFS, beta, these are highly scalable. These are highly scalable. You need not to reserve anything beforehand. So this is pay as per you use. So whatever quantity you're going to use, so based upon that, you will be charged in case of EFS. So this is another difference that you need to understand. This is expensive and this is 3 times than that of GP2, and it is written pay per use. Okay, you need not to reserve it. And the example here is already mentioned. So they have written one of the availability zone is US East 1A, US East 1B, and US East 1C. 3 different availability zones are there. And now in one availability zone, there are multiple instances, and another availability zone, there are 100 more instances, and third, there are 100 more instances. So there are thousands of instances are there. But all these instances from the different availability zone all can connect to the single EFS file system. So this is the beauty, that a single EFS file can be connected to more than one instances, and that too even if they are not present in the same availability zone. But after this, can you see this red color circle? So this is the security group. So these instances beta cannot directly communicate with EFS storage. So it is going to be secured by the security group. I'll tell you how this security group is going to secure. Okay. So for that, I need to have a paper and pen. Let's open this whiteboard. So viewer. So, but I have uh, sent a link, or even I'll share it. Just give me a second. But is this tab visible to you? Can you see this tab?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the one very important point, see, if you see here, I have been trying to explain you how these different instances are going to connect with a single EFS file system, but these are bounded by the security group. Okay. So these are bounded by the security group. So what is going to happen is, suppose this is one of the availability zone. This is suppose America. This is America. This is Europe. This is India. Okay. Now in America, I'll suppose have 100 EC2 instances. In Europe, let's suppose I have 50 instances. Let's suppose I have 80 instances working in an India. Now if I'll use EBS, beta, I'll not be able to share this, because for India I need to have a EBS which is present in India only. So that's a limitation in what we call this EBS. But if I'll if I'll choose, okay, if I'll choose the EFS, but in that case you can share the same storage can be shared, but it is going to be secured with the help of security group. So there is a shell which we call as the security group. And what the security group is going to do, beta, whatever traffic is going to originate from here, first of all there is a check that is going to be implied here. So if it is going to pass, then only the traffic is going to come inside. So that means direct the American EC2 instances directly cannot connect to the EFS. So this direct connection is not possible. So there is a security group attached. So even if any instance wants to connect, they first of all need to have the processing needs to be done at the security group level. And after this, then only whatever instructions are allowed to pass, and then only these instructions are going to reach up to the EFS file storage. Okay. Don't worry, we'll see this practical way how we can apply the security group settings to the different instances that are available onto the different in the availability zones, and how they can communicate using the EFS. We'll see that. Okay. So let me stop this presentation. Okay, so this is first slide is done. So we have discussed the basics of EFS file storage. I have told you the difference also, that this is highly available, this is scalable, this is 3 times expensive. You need not reserve anything. You can use pay as per your use. So this is done. Next one is elastic file system. Read the point. Use cases where you can use this EFS. Where are the proper use cases? In the content management, web serving, data sharing, and the WordPress. That means basically whatever the day-to-day operations that you are going to perform, where the instances or where the virtual machines are spread across the world, and every instance wants to share the same data, but under that cases you can use this one. Okay. Otherwise, for the big data for or any other application where, and basically now if in single line I need to tell the differences, that what are the whatever applications are live in front of public, for that you can use the EFS. So if you have an application which is still in the production phase, or which is still in the deployment phase or testing phase, where it is not in the common public, but there you need not to use the EFS. You can simply use the EBS storage, and you can create the storage within the same availability zone. So that can be the simple difference. Now, use of security groups to control access to EFS. I have drawn the diagram and I have shown you that security group is going to control the access for this EFS. Now, that means none of the instance can directly reach onto the EFS if the security group doesn't allow it. So security group control the access of the EFS. Compatible with the Linux based, the Amazon machine image. This is not compatible with the Windows, and it is going to encrypt using the KMS encryption mechanism, which falls under AES 256. Okay, this is the example of AES 256 encryption protocols. Okay, and the next one is POSIX. This is the file system used in the Linux, so that is why it can be used in the Linux Pix EMI, because these are the files that are going to be used within this EFS. So
so which can be accessed with the help of Linux based operating system only, that has a standard API. File system scales automatically, so scalability is one of the feature that you can have automatically, and pay per user and the capacity reservations are not required. So you need not to have 50 GB of data, so you can daily basis you can use it, and whenever you need to have a bill, so it will be generated as per your usage. So this is how the benefit of it is going to be. Coming on to the next one, this is going to be EFS performance and the storage classes. See, beta, before we can actually move on to the management console, you need to actually know few of the terminologies that will be present in the management console. So out of that, yeah, beta, these are the terms that you will find written in the management console when we'll be trying to create the EFS. Okay, so there are different throughput, bursting, provision, max, general purpose. So these are the few terms that you need to understand. So EFS scale, so thousands of the concurrent network file system client can be there, which is going to have 10 GB per second throughput. So that's highly scalable. Okay, thousands of the concurrent network file systems can be connected to the clients. It go to the petabytes within a fraction of seconds. Network file system automatically it grows up to the petabytes very easily. Performance mode set for EBS creation time. So what type of performance you are expecting from this EFS, you can set this at the time of creation. And generally there are two types, either it is a general purpose or the maximum input output. So we'll be using the general purpose, which is going to be provided default, latency sensitive, so low latency use cases like web server, CMS, content management system, etc. They all uses the general purpose. Or if you have some specific applications that you want to deploy, suppose you have the maximum input output you required, which might have the high latency, so there might be a high latency but the throughput and which is highly parallel, so suitable for the big data and the media processing, the data that is very high. So okay, the next is what is throughput mode. Bursting means 1 TB of data which is going to be processed at 50 mbps bits per second, and throughput you get up to 100 mbps speed of the throughput. So that is a bursting. Provision के अंदर क्या होगा, set your throughput regardless of the storage side. You can customize your throughput, that how fast you want to have your throughput. You can customize in the provisioned way. Okay, size example from 1 GB to 1 TB, up to this point you can customize it. Okay, now storage classes, you will have the different storage tiers, and these storage tiers are classified into availability, durability, and these are classified on okay different. We'll have the IA, this is again very important, we'll be executing this now practically. So what storage tiers is going to explain you better in the life cycle management feature, which moves through the after n days. Now what it means is, so I hope this is screen is visible. Yes, what it means is this is going to be infrequent access, EFSIA. This term is very important, infrequent access. What this means is that suppose you have the file system. Okay, so you have a file system and the data is present on this EFS file. This is very expensive. I have already told you 3 times more expensive. Okay, so lot of data, and the file that you have stored is better which type of files is going to be stored. POSIX files are going to be stored. Okay, so here the format of file is POFIX. So these files are stored here. Now suppose there's a data lying here and you're not using the data. You are not actually using the data, not using it. It is lying there from last 10 days. You have not processed this data. So you can have this mechanism where better you can set this yes, wherefore you can set this infrequent access. So if any of the data which is present on EFS, which is by the way very expensive, if data is present here and which has not been used, it will automatically will be shifted to the another storage that is called as the EFS/IA, infrequent access. That means the data which you will not be frequently using in EFS, automatically it will be shifted into EFS IA. Now, what is the benefit of shifting this IA? But a performance may not be very high. There will be high latency, there will be lower throughput, but this is 90% cheaper. This is 90% cheaper. This is cheaper as compared to EFS. So this makes a sense that if lot of data is present on the EFS and if you have not been using this data, you can shift it to the EFS IA infrequent access. And the next time, next time if you need to have a file which is present here, next time if you have a file which is present there, if you access this file, it will be shifted back to the EFS volume, which is a very brilliant feature that you will be saving a lot of cost by doing this. Now this whole process that I'm explaining, beta, you can decide on this. You can decide on this, that after how many days your data from EFS should be shifted to EFS IA. Whether it needs to be shifted after 1 day, whether it needs to be shifted after 30 days, or whether it needs to be shifted after 60 days. So you can decide that. Okay, now we are going to execute this practically and we'll see how we can do all this thing. Are you able to understand what is the benefit of using this infrequent access? So let's read the whole slide and then move on to the management console. So there are different storage tiers in EFS. One is the storage tier, the EFS, we already know this. This is life cycle management features. It moves through the n days. So standard for frequently accessed files. So you can storage tier mein beta, first one is standard for the frequently accessed file. And the second one is infrequent access ke liye you have the EFS IA. This is cost to retrieve files, lower price to store, and it enables IFS IA with the lifecycle policy. So this is attached with the lifecycle policy. So that means if you want to enable this EFS IA, you cannot do it without this lifecycle policy. Okay, we'll discuss this lifecycle policy as well. Now coming on to the availability and durability, but a regional, if you're going to use the regional availability zone, so it will be available in the multi availability zone, which is great for the productions. And if you use the one zone, so it will be present in the one availability zone, great for the development, for the backup enabled process, and by default it is one zone. Okay, and it saves up to 90% of the cost saving. So if you're going to use this, so 90% of the cost saving you can have. Now let's discuss what is present here. But this green color is your EFS file system. EFS file system is there, and there are multiple data present on this EFS file system, and no access from 60 days. You can see here it has written no access from 60 days from EFS standard file. Now what is the standard file? Standard file is for frequently accessed files. So if from standard file you have not accessed this, but you can move this to the EFS IA, and this will be governed. This is going to be governed, and this is going to be checked regularly with the life cycle policy. So first of all, we need to set the life cycle policy. Then only we'll be able to move from the EFS standard to EFS IA. So this is important to set first before we can actually do it. Okay. Let's see if we have any other thing interesting. ठीक है बेटा, ये लास्ट में कंपैरिजन है EBS वर्सेस EFS इलास्टिक ब्लॉक स्टोरेज. दिस इज लास्ट द कंपैरिजन. ओके, so in this EBS, one this is instances stored with the EBS, but in case of this EFS, it can be stored using the different availability zone. Okay, so this is just a comparison, similarities. Okay, let's see this. Okay, let's move on to our management console and let's try to execute this one. So the very first thing, beta, I'll be going to creating a file system. Okay, let's move on to the management console.
Okay, so I'll be moving in here. Let's try to have. So do we have deleted everything? Volumes is empty. Snapshots are empty. Okay. So I'll be clicking here EFS, Elastic uh, File System. Okay, EFS. So I'll reach onto this EFS. Okay, Elastic File System, scalable, elastic, cloud native. This belongs to the network file system. Okay. So first of all, we need to create the file system. So let's try to create the file system. Now, if you want to have the shortcut, but in the shortcut, you can simply right here, you can click the create. But since this is our first time, so I'll not be using this. I'm going to click on the customize, which is going to give me the more detailed way, because there are step number 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Multiple steps are there. So we are going to execute all the steps in detail before we can move on to the next one. Okay, so the name, which is going to be an optional one, so I'll keep it as it is. Now it is going to ask for the, now beta, you'll observe whatever things we have studied in the theory. So availability and durability, regional hoga, one zone hoga, then a performance mode, it is general purpose, maximum input output, throughput, is it bursting or provision, and everything that we have, I have just shown you in this PPT, whatever we have studied in this PPT. So all these things are present in the management console. Let's try to have this. So I'm not going to give it any name, and let's keep this as you can limit it to one zone. If you click it to one zone, you have to specify which of the zone you want it, but I'll keep it regional. Regional means this EFS will be applicable, and this will be available for the multiple availability zones. Okay, so this is available for the multiple availability zone. So automatic backups, if you want to have it, if you don't want to have it, or you can have it, let's create like this. Life cycle management is very important. Now, do you see this life cycle policy? This is life cycle policy. How, after how much time your EFS standard file needs to move to EFS IA. So it is present here. So you will see EFS intelligent tier using management one and standard infrequent access storage, and transition to infrequent access 30 days since last. So you can time 7 days, 14, 30, 60, and 90. So let's keep it 31. Or a transition out of IA. So that means, let's suppose you want to use the file which is in the IA. Now you want to bring it out of the IP. Now you can either click on none, that you never want the file back in your EFS, or you can click on first asset. So the moment you have the first access file which is present in an IA, it is going to jump back to the EFS. Okay, so you can click on as per your the preferences, you can have this. So this is done. The next one is you can choose the performance modes, and there are different performance modes, and it can be either general purpose, or it can be the performance for the general purpose of the maximum input output. So most of the cases we use this general purpose, ideal for the low latency. Here you're going to have the high latency, and this is for the big data kind of things, for the media inputs. So we'll keep it as it is. And bursting is provisioned, or throughput scales with the file system side. So as you're going to scale this EFS, bursting is going to automatically scale. So that's the way of throughput works. But you can provision it as well, that throughput valid ranges from 1 to 124 megabytes per second. So if you have a smaller project, but still you want to have a high throughput, so you can decide it from this point, how much throughput you are expecting it. Okay. Otherwise, if you're using the bursting, it will scale as per the size. जैसे जैसा size increase होगा, bursting speed is going to increase. But if you have a smaller size, but still you need to have a higher the throughput, then you can choose from this point. So I'll keep it the default. Then enable encrypt for the data at rest. So this is also going to be the default setting. So I'm going to keep everything same. So nothing is there changed. So let's click on the next. Okay, now file system setting is done. I've moved to step number 2, network. So they need to use the virtual private cloud. So we have only one default one. Then mount targets. Beta, do remember that we have chosen for the regional one. That will, it will be available in the multiple availability zone, AP South, A, 1A, 1B, 1C. So this will be available for the multiple regions, not only bound to the single. You can see it mount target ki kahan pe ye mount hoga. So we need to have a subnet ID. So subnet is present here automatically, so need not to do here. And also we need to have a security group. Okay, so security group is by default, this is the security group. Let me move back and revise, brush up the concept that in case you want to have this, better in case you want to have this multiple instances on the multiple availability zone, EFS is bounded by what? It is bounded by a security group. Now we are going to jump onto the that point security group. It is already the default one, but we need to create a new security group for this one. Okay, I'll be trying to create the new security group. Okay, so for that, let's move to our EC2 instance. I'm going to write it here, EC2. Okay, I've opened it in a new tab. So this tab will remain as it is. I've opened a new tab. Okay, so we are going to have a security group here. Okay, so under network and security, so you'll have a, yes, here is the security group, and I'm going to create a new security group, and let's take it the name. This is going to be SG, stand for security group. Let's name it as the EFS/dem. Let it be the SD security group for the EFS file system. We need not to write the description here, and or let's write it. I'm going to write EFS. VPC, it is fetched already, so there is no inbound rule. So I'm going to keep it as it is. Okay, I'm going to keep it as it is. Let's try to create the security group. Security group name can, okay, let's remove this. Now we are good to go. EFS demo, EFS/demo. Let's create the security group. Okay, now you'll see the security group has automatically been created. Now but this security group, since it has automatically created, and now what we need to do is we need to attach the security group here. So let's move back to our EFS, and I want to attach. Now since we'll not be having it, I need to refresh this one. So but I'm going to refresh this page, entire page, in order to reflect the changes. Okay, it has moved back to the original one. So starting, nothing is changed, so everything is like same. Next, so here let's try to have, okay, now this time beta, you'll see everywhere I have got the two security groups. One security group is already the default one, the another security group is the one that I have created. So when you check on this, this is EFS.demo, we have got this security group. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll remove this security group from here. Let's remove this, and let's try to attach our security group. So EFS demo. So let's write EFS. So EFS demo is attached. Again, EFS demo is attached here, and EFS demo is attached. Okay, so I have attached my security group that I have recently created. And if you'll see here, better, when I was creating the security groups, I have written nothing in the inbound rules. This is what I was trying to show. Inbound rules, no entities. I have not included HTTP, no SSH, no any other the feature I have included. So nothing is written in this security group. So this is just now created. Okay. Now, the moment you create the security group, in the next case, we'll move on to the next one. So let's move to the next. So need not to, this is the optional one, by the way. And by the way, this is beyond the scope, no, not required anything. Let's move on to the next one. And it is going to ask for the review part. Okay. So you can review this file, and you can finally, you can go and click on this button, create. Okay. So file system is creating, and it is success. Now it is available, and let's try to click on this file system that we have created. Now the moment you click on this file system, beta, you can see the total size that is being used is 6 KB. So I have used only 6 KB, and here I have told you that you will be charged for whatever the data that you are going to actually use. So it is only, we have just created it, we have not used it. So only this the usage that is consumed is 6 KB. Okay, 6 KB. So this is a general purpose one. It is written as the general purpose. And let's move to the instances now and launch the instance. So I'll be launching the multiple instances. Okay, I'll go to the, I'll leave it as it is, and let's move to the instances. Okay, let's launch the instances. And I will be using the AWS, everything is default, T2 micro is there, key pair. Let's proceed without the key pair, are not required. Proceed without key pair, and then move on to the create a security group, select the existing one. Okay, so okay, so configuration is here. So network, okay, so this is done, and let's finally create our instance. Is a new file system I am about to check. Zero file system. You can see there is a zero file system as of now. We do not have the file system, and if we'll need to click on edit, so it's written you currently don't have file system on this instance. You need to select a subnet before you can actually add a file system. Okay, so the file system that we have just created here, so it is not reflecting here. So we need to create the subnet. Okay, so we'll go to the network settings. Let's move on to the network setting. Subnet, here it is written, and AP South 1A. So our availability zone, this is AP South 1A. So I'm going to select this. So subnet is being selected here. And now when I'll move down, you'll see file system, you'll have either FSX or you'll have the EBS. Okay, so it has automatically there. So in file system, we'll have the add a shared file system, and shared file system, you will have the availability here is automatically the regional, and the mount point is, this is important. Why I'm doing this? Because beta I'll be creating an EC2 instance connect, and I just need to show you that it is working for the instances that are not present on the same availability zone. Okay, so from that perspective, this is important to understand. So this is important. Mount point, MNT, EFS,
FS1. So this is important, but I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste it somewhere. Let me paste it in the chat area, because I need to have this command. This is important. Okay. So this is done. Add shared file system automatically. What it's going to do? Automatically create and attach the security groups. That is perfect. Automatically mount shared files by attaching the required user data. That is also done. So this is done. Then we need to move to the next part. One of the instances required. Launch initiation. It is success. So this is pending. Let's launch new one. But I'm going to give this the instance. Let's suppose A. Okay. Instance A. I'm going to give it a name. Rest of the things will remain as it is. Key pair, let's proceed without key pair. Network setting, subnet. This time, but the last time हमने use किया था 1A. Now I'm going to use 1B. Okay. Okay. मेरे को change करना तो यहाँ पे. So let it be instance B, so that we have a clear understanding. This is instant B, and here I'm going to use the subnet for 1B. So I'm going to change the subnet. So subnet is, last time we have used the subnet 1A. So this time I'm going to use the subnet 1B. Okay. So we have changed this, and let's create existing security group. Default. Okay. So after using this, click on the file system, edit, EFS, add shared system. So this is done. MNT EFS FS1. So this is done. Everything is perfect here. And backslash MNT EFS. So automatically it is going to do. And let's click on launch instance. Okay. So this instance is also launched. Okay. So, but at the one point that you need to understand, the first instance for where I have not given any name, this is launched in AP South 1A. This is on the different availability zone. Instance B, from the name indicates, it's launched in the AP South 1B. So I have launched two instances, and both of them are present onto the different availability zones. Okay. Are you clear with this one? But up to this point, do you have any doubt? Now we are trying to use the security group. Okay. So if I need to move on to this EFS, and here you will under the section of network, if I need to show you here, you'll hello.
सर आपने जो सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप रखा वो सेम रखा जो फाइल सिस्टम में रखा था, वही वाला यहाँ पे इंस्टेंस में भी रखा या अलग रखा?
But I'm not getting the question. Tell me again.
सर मतलब जो आपने फाइल वाला सिस्टम में जो सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप ऐड किया था वही सेम इंस्टेंस के लिए भी ऐड किया है या अलग?
नहीं, वो अलग था.
Okay,
so that's a separate one. So that is what I'm going to explain. When you will go to, this is the file system, Elastic file system, the system that we created. Under the network, you will see AP South 1, AP South 1B, AP South 1C. तो जितने भी regions इसके अंदर available हैं, you will see there is security group 1 and security group second one and security group third one. So there are multiple security groups associated with the single availability zone. Okay. सो इसमें से बेटा एक सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप ऐसा है जो कि मेरा खुद का, दैट आई हैव ड्रॉन फॉर एपी साउथ 1. बेटा दिस इज द EFS SG, दिस इज द डिफॉल्ट. EFS demo, this is created by me, and EFS SG1, this is also default. So 3 security groups are attached in the every availability zone, and out of that, 1 security group is mine that I have created, and the another one is going to be the existing one which is created by default. Okay, so perfect here. So nothing wrong here. So we have multiple security groups. Now beta, I'm going to go to the security group, and I just need to set the inbound rules. Let's move to the security groups here, and इसमें security group we have EFS demo. Okay, EFS demo SG, that I have set this, and let's go to the inbound rule. Let's go to the inbound rule, and if you'll see the inbound rule, it is not showing anything because at the time of creation of the security group, so I have not written anything. Just give me a second. There's a mistake. We need to have a rule here. Mm, There's something wrong. I need to stop the instances. Give me a second. I need to start the new instances. Keep here. So edit inbound rules, subnet preference, availability zone AP South 1C. We have used this auto sign, create an existing one. Okay, everything looks perfect. Okay, so T2 micro is not available in AP South 1C. Please retry your request for not specifying availability zone to choosing AP South 1C. Edit instance log. not available. Instance B. B. Let's try to write. Hmm, okay, this is done. Done. Creating EFS security group failed. So I'm going to refresh this page once. That is. So this is existing security. So EFA security group mount targets. Mm, the source. Actually, let me tell you what the problem is if you're not able to get it. So, but the problem is we have created the security group and we have written in the Elastic file system. Okay. So Elastic file system we have written and we have successfully have got our security group attached to the different availability zone here. You will see EFS demo is attached here also. EFS demo is attached here also, and EFS demo is attached here also. Now next time we are going to create a new instance. Now next time we are going to create a new instance, and if we are going to choose uh, if we're going to choose the network setting under this, if we are going to choose the security group, and it needs to allow no preferences, let's suppose it is 1A, enable existing security group. Now if we're going to choose the EFS demo here, so this particular, if we're going to use the security group, this one, and at the end of it we should be able to create this. It is showing an error. EFS security group mount target. So it is not able to mount. If it is able to mount, and if we'll move to the security group, under this security group, we'll click on the EFS demo. How we'll be able to find out if it is successfully mounted? Better under the inbound rules, it is saying that the source which traffic can originate, it is showing 0000 from anywhere. Now the problem is, I have told you that if this is going to be my security group and this is the EFS file system, okay, now it is showing that 0000, that means traffic from anywhere can flow to this EFS. Instead of that, but instead of this 00, it should be written the security group name. It should be written here is, instead of source, here it should be the security group name. The way it has been written here is, so this is the security group name, like this one, security group. So here at the place of source, instead of this, this is allowing the traffic from everywhere. So I don't want the traffic to be allowed from everywhere. What I want is, if this is availability zone, this is the availability zone, and whatever the traffic is originating, whatever instances are originating, this needs to come to the security group. Okay, it needs to come to the security group, and security group should further allow it. This is what we have been trying to do. We are about to get this security group here. Okay, so यहाँ पे बेटा security group होना चाहिए. So I need to remove everything. So there is a mistake somewhere. We need to remove everything and start over again. Better try to do it at your end. Are you able to do this? I'm terminating everything.
Sir, can we not create a new security group for that instance?
Better if we'll create the new security group, so under this Elastic file system, we again need to start create another file system. Okay, so we need to, let's remove this as well. Let's remove this file system also. Okay, confirm deletion in file system IDs. Let's copy this. So deleting the mount target. So this is going to be deleted. File system. Let's discuss everything. Instances are terminated. Okay, and whatever AMI is not, volumes not, snapshot not, security groups attached, whatever, all the security groups I'm going to remove, because I know the error is somewhere in the security group. So these all security groups that have been created, it is going to create the problem. So neither I'm able to delete this one. Okay, will not be able to. One network interface has to delete this network interface or associated with the different security of network interface. Okay. This is done. Okay. First of all, detach, fail to detach. The network interface at the device index 0 and network card index 0 cannot be detached. Yes, this is gone. Fail to detach security groups. That is why we, even if it is not detached, will not be able to delete the security groups. Okay. Chalo. We'll see that, but I'll resolve this and we'll do the next one from here. In the meanwhile, let's continue with our elastic file system. Okay, so this EFS elastic file system contain where you can use this EFS file system. This is for the content management, web servicing, data sharing, and the WordPress, and it uses the NFS 4.0 protocol. So this is internally the AWS uses this protocol at the backend. It uses the security groups to control access. This is done encryption using, this is done, slide is already covered, scale throughput is then. Okay, so we were discussing the differences between EBS and EFS. Okay, elastic block storage. So EBS volume, this can be attached to only one single instance at a time. Okay, can be attached to only a single instance at a time. EBS are locked to the availability zone. GO2 input output increases the disk space, and IO1 can increase the independently. So whereas if you'll see this, the another one, the EBS or the EFS beta, it is not limited to the single availability zone. This is what we have been trying. We are going linking to the different availability zone. Okay, can be attached to more than one instances at a time. So these are the differences. It can migrate EB to volume across the A to Z. You can migrate it, take a snapshot, restore the snapshot, backups you can take. So these are the all the things that you can do using the EBS root one. So root EBS volume instance get terminated by default. So root volume will be terminated because at the time of creation of instance, we specify that it needs to be deleted when the root volume is deleted. EC2 gets terminated. So you can disable that by going to the termination setting. So availability zone 1A and 1.2. So this is instance. EBS can be attached to it, and you can, if from one availability zone to the another availability zone, you can move EBS using the snapshot. You can create the snapshot and you can move the EBS volumes. This we have studied already. Then elastic file system, how this is going to help better. Now this is operating on the Linux based operating system. It is present in the one availability zone. This is present on the another availability zone. So EFS mount targets, this is going to mount it into EFS. So both of them are going to be mounted to the EFS. Now you cannot directly use this EFS. You need to have a security group attached to it. Okay, that is where we are going to process now. Mounting hundreds of instances across the different availability zone done. EFS share a website files like WordPress, only used for the Linux instances because it use the file type is POSIX types is going to be used. EFS has the higher price. It is going to have a higher price point than the EBS. Of course, this is going to be the 3 times more expensive than the EBS. We have discussed this. Can leverage EFS IA for the cost saving. So for 90% saving, you can move the unused data to the IA in infrequent access. You can move to that. Remember, EFS versus EBS A versus the instance store, different types of instance stores that we have discussed now. Okay, and then we have the fundamentals, scalability. Okay, This is the next one, scalability, and that we'll be discussing in the next one. Okay, so let's again try to do this. Let me log out. I'm going to create a new EFS file system, and I'll be creating a new this security group, and then we are going to try. This is for the last time we are going to try before closing the session. I hope this works this time. This in the security group, it's creating somewhere error. Okay, so first of all, we'll be moving to our we'll be going to the EFS. Okay, and we'll be creating the EFS files. Create a file system, customize, name optional, regional, one zone, enable automatic. So settings are life cycle 30-day since last assess. Okay, and we have not changed anything here. It is general purpose and busting. Okay, this is next. So do we have any other security group? Let's try to create the different security group now. Okay, so to use here, I'm going to create the different security group. I'm going to EC2, and let's open the new tab. Let's go to the security groups, create a security group, and I'm going to write EFS new group, so we can distinguish VPC is done. So I'll keep it everything. Nothing is required to be here. So the traffic, it allows all the traffic. Okay, let's create the security group. Security group is created. No inbound rules is here. So I'm going to EFS. Let's try to refresh the page. Regional one-way encryption. Next, mount target subnet. Subnet is default. Security group. EFS new group. So here also EFS new group. EFS new group. So I have attached the new group to it. Okay. So nothing required to be changed here. Review file system done, and create.
Okay, so file system is created. Let's move to instances. Okay, let's try to create an instance. I'm going to create instance 1, which is going to be using Day8 micro, and let's proceed without key pair. Okay, allow SSH anywhere. So this is done. Let's go to the network settings, subnet no preferences, AP South. Okay, I'm done. So we are going to choose a security group here. Let it we have launch wizard 1. File system. Done. Let's try to create one more. Instance 1. Let's create instance 2. Okay, so this is done beta. We have created both instances and using that one. Okay, so we have got two instances that are running. AP South 1, public INS. Let's move to the instance. Source is still 00. Oh. No security group found. So we have created EFS, new group, and 0 permissions, 1 permissions entry. Launch wizard 1. Let's try to create this one. Security launch wizard 1. So beta, we are stuck here. Don't worry, we'll try to solve this error, and we'll be completing this in the next session. Okay. So I don't think I'll be able to complete this within this hour, because once we are able to get this security group with the which is attached to our the file systems, even then we need to have a couple of steps to execute. Okay. So we'll continue from this step in our next session onwards. Okay. So just don't leave the session. Let me take an attendance before you can move. Give me a second, but I'm going to take an attendance.